Happy New Decade, fellow Decepticons. Sound Blaster 1987 here, kicking off my 2020 reviews with T30, Springer and Sandstorm. The reason I'm reviewing these two figures at the same time is because they're, with a few differences, the same mould essentially. So here they are in their car modes, and for size comparison, Siege Springer. I know I said at the end of my last review he would be my next subject, but because of how locked in his transformation is, it's still taking me a while to loosen things off, so it's going to take a while for him to be available for review just yet. These two are based on the Last Stand of a Wrecker's comic book design from the Wrecker's trilogy of comics by Nick Rosen and James Roberts of IDW Publishing. Springer here obviously being more specifically designed for the series, and Sandstorm just coincidentally using the same kind of mould with a few additional parts. Both figures roll pretty well, although, joint tolerances mean that transformation errors can cause misalignment of the wheels at times. I must point out at this moment that this Springer was actually a birthday present from my friend James. I'll post a link to his channel in the description below. He also touched up this figure with a few additional paint apps for more detail. So, both these figures have 5mm ports on them for their weapons. Springer has a double-barreled friction-fired gun with pressure-launched missiles. Still annoying that they use those in their glory days of spring-loaded missiles, but still, never mind. Then the sword can plug in either on top or underneath for bayonet mode, and then the gun itself plugs into one of two 5mm pegs here or here. For a Twisted Metal Mad Max kind of weaponized vehicle mode, but kind of reminds me more of the Dark of the Moon Wreckers, to be honest, compared to the comic book version. Sandstorm's gun, and another one that's been modified, so it's only got one barrel. But it also fits up top on this port here. Although, because of the sloping angle of the vehicle, the missile launcher will always be pointing downwards. It can also spin freely in the slot for like a mobile turret formation. So, to transform these two into their flight modes, starting with Springer, you may need a lever of some kind to get the side panel pieces like this slid out and swung over the front wheels. I know I certainly will for Sandstorm because I got him loose on eBay and he's still got a few joint problems. But then disconnect the back parts here, swing them backwards and connect them into one another like so. Swinging back the spoiler halves to become a tail fin as well. Bring the hips up like so. And the knee spikes down as landing gear. Click the knees back. Then bring the cockpit forward on the double hinge. Make sure everything's tabbed together at the back properly. Then double hinge the side panels back, fold the arm panel in at the shoulder and keeping the fist in place for robot mode. Bend the side panel 90 degrees to form side mounted wings. Hang on. Then flip these side windshield panels over to conceal the hands. Peg the side panels into place. Same on the other side. Like so. Make sure these stay put. Then flip out the nose, land a gear. Next, split the sword in half like so. And flip the green bit up to become spinning rotor blades, which attach to this 5mm port back here. This panel doesn't like staying pegged in place properly. And here we have Springer in helicopter mode. Put him off to one side. Sandstorm, however, slightly different transformation, and he turns into a VTOL jet instead of a proper helicopter. So, take these roof cover pieces here, flip that back to become a tail fin, disconnect the rear wheels and flip them over like this to become the VTOL jets. Then, same process with the rest of the transformation, just bring these armor pieces out. Apologies for the jump cut, but some parts are stiffer than others on this figure. This is what happens when you buy Transformers loose off eBay. So, disconnect these rear parts and peg them together at the back. Peg the ankles together so they're actually, going to stay put. And flip this back over. Disconnect the side panels and do the same as you did with Springer, just double hinge these back. Then double hinge the cockpit section forward. Have the side wing fins into place to secure the arms. They don't seem to tab in very well on my copy for some reason. And make sure that's straightened out properly. Sorry, this is a lot more awkward than it should be. Not transformed this guy for a while, as you can probably tell by my, incompetence. And here we have them both in their flight modes. Apologies for the, random jump cut and the, slight fumbling about. I've forgotten that Sandstorm's arms work differently for the VTOL mode so as to not obstruct the fans. But, as you can see, Springer's rotor blades and Sandstorm's rear wheel VTOL turbines both spin freely when not obstructed by other objects. The guns can plug in on the underside of the cockpit canopies, but I can't remember how to do that right now. You'll have to watch MGO or Bolt Matrix for that kind of component of the review. Here they are again with Siege Springer's car mode. I would transform into helicopter mode, but one of the rotor blade swords has disappeared, so you'll have to wait till my actual Siege Springer review to see that properly. So, to transform these guys both into robot modes, I'll leave Springer off to one side and focus on Sandstorm for the time being. So, to transform to robot mode, bring the VTOL fans up out of the way, then disconnect the tail component, and straighten all of this to become the legs. Split them, hinge the feet forward and flip out the heel spurs. Like so. Splay the feet at an angle so that they're flat. Then flip them over. Disconnect the shoulders. Bring the nose cone down and the head up at the same time, so that the nose wheel of the flight mode goes past the robot head and tucks into the abdomen to lock the chest in place. This is a lot easier with Sandstorm because his head hasn't got all the spikes on it that Springer's has. So once the chest plate is in position, lock it in place by bringing the shoulders up. Like so. Then double hinge the cockpit. Actually no, the cockpit stays put. Double hinge the rear part and bring the VTOL fans back. Then double hinge the orange bit down onto its back and tab it in. And bring the fins together at the back like so, to replicate the tail fin hanging off the back of the head of its G1 cartoon counterpart and toy form, which I do not currently have for comparison sadly. Next, bring out the fists. And disconnect the shoulders from the yellow component of the chest plate. Put the weapon in the robot mode's hand. And that is Sandstorm in robot mode. Due to his loose ankles and being a bit back heavy, he doesn't stand very well, unfortunately, in some poses. Now, so here we have Springer and Sandstorm in their robot modes, and you can see between them the differences in moulding between Springer and Sandstorm here. The Springer version of this mould was also used for the Transformers Cloud, Rodimus, and 2015 BotCon Battle Trap mould figures. The Sandstorm version has, as of yet, not had any straight repaints or minor retools to the Sandstorm version, but who knows what could happen in the future. Unlikely though, given the current Generations line, but still, anything is possible, even if we don't have BotCon anymore. So, for articulation, I'm going to have to put Sandstorm off to one side for a minute, because he's really wobbling with his very loose ankles. So I'll be using Springer to demonstrate the articulation. So, heads on a ball joint, fair, plenty of motion there. Universally hinged if slightly loose and floppy shoulders. Well, actually the shoulders are on a ball joint on a hinged stalk thing here, so might need to tighten that up with a bit of floor polish in the future. Then bicep swivel, ratcheted elbows, waist swivel, slightly impeded by the backpack. Then universal hips, thigh swivel, heavily ratcheted knees with a deep bend, and trust me, a helicopter robot with those knee spikes and that deep a knee bend, it ain't gonna end well for the Decepticons. And also, because of how loose they are, the feet can tilt forward and back a little bit. And there's this sliding hinge thing for transformation, which could possibly be useful for certain flying poses if you were to put a Tamashii flight stand in the screw hole down there. Because of how loose my Springer's feet are, I use the tail fins from his helicopter mode as additional heel spurs to give him a slightly bigger footprint for stability when just standing on a shelf. And also the upper 5mm port on his back can be used to store the sword when not in use. So, that has been my review of Siege and Generations Springer and Sandstorm. I will eventually get round to Siege Springer, but I need to loosen off his joints and transformation problems first, so that might take a while. So for my next review, it will be another 2-in-1, this time returning to the realm of Tokusatsu with Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures, Lord Zed and Goldar, till all are one.